What's up, fitness fam? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new to my channel, welcome. All right, so today's topic is going to be macros. I get this question all the time. Claire, how do I figure out my macros? What are my portion sizes? How much am I supposed to eat? It's also confusing for most people when you're first getting started in your journey. So I'm going to go over all of that today. First off, what are macros? They're your proteins, your fats, and your carbs, and alcohol is in the equation as well, though I don't really count it, though I will touch a little bit on alcohol. So let me start with that. Alcohol is actually a toxin, so just know when you ingest alcohol, your liver has to process it immediately. So basically when you eat food, it gets pushed to the wayside and pretty much stored as fat, and that can last for 36 hours after you've been drinking. I know, good times, right? I'm such a joy sucker, but it is true. So I'm not saying don't drink, I'm just saying be careful with it. Know what you're getting into with alcohol. It can slow your fat loss progress down. If you're trying to lose fat and you're drinking a few times a week, it can really slow things down. It can also slow protein synthesis down, your recovery, your sleep, and mess up your hormones. So that is just one thing that several things that alcohol can do to your body. So I don't drink much myself, a few times a year. I'm not willing to work my butt off in the gym just to, go have a few drinks on the weekend, every weekend. So I only do it occasionally when I'm in contest prep to lose weight like I am right now. I don't drink, I don't touch it because I know it's not going to help me. So anyway, just a little information on that. And I will be flashing some screenshots here. So as you see those screenshots, go ahead and pause the video, screenshot it so that you can have those in your phone. Because if you're anything like me, you won't remember half what I'm talking about. You'll be like, what did she say about that? So at least you'll have those quick screenshots in your phone. It'll make it a whole lot easier for you. Okay, so the next macro I want to touch on is protein. It's the most important macro there is. You need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, unless you're a bigger girl, and I say that lovingly, so please don't be offended. But if you're over 200 pounds, you need to go for your goal weight in grams of protein, all right? It's really important when you're trying to lose weight that you don't lose muscle so you don't end up looking skinny fat. That's why we want to keep our protein high, number 1. Number 2, it helps you keep it. If I could talk today, that would be helpful. It'll help keep you satiated as well. So eating protein with every meal, I eat 5 to 6 times a day. I do recommend if you are trying to build muscle that you try to squeeze at least 4 to 6 meals in a day, spaced out. Now, I'll get into portion sizes here in a minute, but I just want to touch on these macros really quick. So protein is the most important macro. I will share a sheet here on what macros are what and what are the best choices for macros and carbs, proteins, and fats and all of that, because a lot of people get confused on that too. Well, okay, what kind of foods are we talking about here? What do I need to be eating to help me with my fitness journey and my fat loss journey, so on and so forth. So make sure you capture this screenshot because it's a good one. So the next macro I want to touch on is carbs. Carbs are super important and they get a bad rap. We need good carbs for brain function, muscle recovery, and also our energy too, but it's the right kind of carbs that make the difference. So I have all the ones that I eat in that sheet I just posted a moment ago, so make sure you save that into your phone. Now, my favorite's going to be sweet potatoes, Japanese yams, rice, any kind of rice. However, I will say I stick to white rice post-lifting because it's fast digesting. So when you eat it right after your workout, it gets back into your muscles to replace the glycogen that you just drained out of your muscles. And it helps you recover. So that's the time that I like to have white rice. In the morning, I might have multi-meal or oatmeal or something like that. As my choice of carb, but I always eat a carb with a protein, and that's another thing that people need to make sure that they do. Make sure you have a carb and a protein together. That's really important. And the next macro is fats, and those are also important as well. Now, your fats are probably going to be the lowest on the ratio. That's generally how it works. Your proteins and carbs need to be similar in a daily intake, but your fats are going to be lower. So for me, I don't do like a ton of added fats because you'd be amazed how much fats you get in your meats. For example, bison, red meat, things like that have fat already in it. Chicken too. Not much, but it does add up at the end of the day. So I tend to stay a little bit more low fat. Now, as we get older, our digestion slows down. So this is a lot of of information that people don't generally know, and I'm going to fill you in on this. Our liver slows down as we get older. That, going back to the alcohol, it just compounds that problem I was talking about earlier. But so as our digestion and liver slows down, your choices of food need to be as healthy as possible, because, you know, we just can't eat the same things we could when we were 20 and 30 years old, right? At least I freaking can't. You must be a freak if you can, because I cannot. So I stick with, you know, chicken, whitefish, bison. I don't generally do salmon because it's very high in fat. Now, you can do salmon once a week. That's totally fine, but I'd rather have a steak if it would, but that's me. Everybody's different on what kind of foods that they like. My favorite fats are going to be like almonds, whole eggs. The whole egg is the most complete fat that you can eat. It's got so many vitamins in it and minerals and such. It's a really good natural fat. So make sure you have at least one whole egg a day. I usually do that in the morning. Now, when I get in contest prep, I usually stick with egg whites, but that's a whole nother animal. I just did a video on what I eat in a day and the day in my life. So if you haven't watched that one, definitely check that out, because I go into foods a lot. I do protein shakes though. Back to the proteins for a moment. Devotion is my favorite. Let me grab the one that I use. So this one is really good. Angel Food Cake. I love the brownie batter. It's probably my favorite of all the Devotion products. So it's okay to sup with a protein shake every now and again. I actually make pudding with that. I've done videos on this. I've also, the day in my life, I have a lot of that information in there too. So make sure you watch that video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you want to see next as well. Okay, so now we're going to move on to how to figure out your macros for your body and your portion sizes. So macros do depend on your individual stats. And I tell people all that all the time, because they're like, well, what are my macros? Well, gosh, you know, that really depends on so many things. And let me tell you why. Sally, who's 5'8", she has an active job. She lifts weights, versus Susie, who has a sit-down job. She doesn't lift weights. She doesn't really move much. The macros on these two ladies are going to be very, very different. So it depends on your activity level, your height, your weight, you know, your goals, how much you work out, all of that stuff comes into play with your macros. But I would still recommend that you keep your protein high no matter what. I do have a free calculator, so this is how you figure it out. I use my free calculator when you're done watching this video, because you're going to want to watch the rest of this too to help you. Go to clairemorrow.com and look for my macro calculators. I have a calorie calculator there as well. Both are pretty accurate. Do not enter extreme weight loss. That is not healthy, okay? I'm just going to warn you there. But figure out your numbers. So let's say your macros turn out to be 150 grams of protein per day, 150 carbs, and let's say, just for fun, 30 grams of fat. You know, just throwing numbers out there. So you take those numbers and you have a total calorie, right? Make sure you're using a tracking app like MyFitnessPal. That's what I use. I love that app. Been using it for years. It's not a plug. I don't know these people. This is just what I use, all right? So you take those numbers that you get and you apply it to your meals. So I happen to measure in ounces. I always measure my food cooked. Here's why: because I make so much of it at once. If you have not seen my meal prep for fat loss video, I highly recommend you watch it. Probably my most viewed video on my YouTube, because it's helpful as far as to what to cook, how to fix it. I give away some recipes, all kinds of stuff. Anyways, once you figure out your numbers, you spread them out throughout the day. So portion sizes depend on how many times a day you're eating. So you see why it's hard for me to answer this question when somebody asks me on a live or on a question on a TikTok video or something like that. By the way, if you're on TikTok or Instagram, definitely follow me on there too. I post lots of good information there as well. Anyway, shameless plug. So the portion sizes really does depend on how many times a day you're eating. For example, I eat 5 to 6 times a day, so therefore my portions are going to be smaller. So you take those numbers and you measure your food, which we're going to go into the kitchen here in just a minute, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Just make sure, here's the kicker, make sure when you enter your food, you enter it cooked in your app, okay? Otherwise, most often it records it as uncooked, all right? And there is a difference. So especially with chicken. And make sure too, if you cook your chicken in a crock pot like I do, that you let it sit out and let all the water dry out of it before you measure it, okay? So you can either, excuse me, just ate, can you tell? Hiccuping. So you can either measure it in grams or ounces. I prefer to use ounces. That's just my personal preference. So that's how you figure out your portion sizes. It just depends on how many times a day you're eating. If you're eating 3 times a day, then obviously your meals are going to be bigger portions 3 times a day. If you're eating 4 to 5, same thing. So you just do the math on it. If you've got to get that 150 grams of protein in, use protein shakes to help you. That's 20 grams of protein right there. Figure out, when you're entering it into your app, most often, for example, 4 ounces of chicken is going to be anywhere, 30 grams of protein. So you take that and you apply it to your meals throughout the day. So I'm sure you're following me on this. Here's a screenshot, by the way. Save this. This is how you figure it out, just in a nutshell. So you can have something in your phone and you don't have to watch this video all over again, because that's a beating. What did she say? Damn it, I gotta watch that video again. All right, so I'm gonna take you into the kitchen and show you kind of how I do it as far as measurements go. It's super simple, easy peasy peasy. So here we go, come with me. Okay, so when it comes to figuring out your portion sizes, you need a food scale. This is really important, okay? You can grab one off Amazon. I'll put the link below where to find one. I also have the devotion too. I'll put a link below. I forgot to say that earlier. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take your container, put it on top, okay? You can zero it out like that, okay? And then you're going to take, let's just take chicken, for example, and you're going to measure it out. So my portion sizes are going to be 4 ounces because that is what I eat. Again, my portion sizes are going to be different from yours. So you need that macro calculator to help you with that. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing with our carb. So my carb choice is sweet potatoes. So that needs to match the other. So basically we're doing 4 ounces of carbs, 4 ounces of chicken. So we're almost there. So when you do your meal prepping, this is what it should look like. Now, I usually do mustard with this, went over a little bit. So I usually do mustard with this or GQ sugar-free sauces or something like that, but I really prefer mustard with the chicken. It's just so much better. Okay, that's close enough for government work. So there we go. That's what your meal should look like if it's a small meal. Now, again, if you're eating, less times a day, your portions are going to be bigger. So that's how you figure it out on your portion sizes. All right, so I hope that was helpful. This is such a complicated, it's actually not that complicated, but when you don't know what to do, it's like you're staring up at a big mountain going, oh my God. I felt like a monkey trying to do math the first time I was trying to figure all this out. So I totally get how you feel if you're confused about it, and maybe you already know how to do it and are just watching this video to get some more ideas. But anyway, either way, I hope this video helped you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see next. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I do post some fun skits and fun stuff, good information that will help you in your everyday life. And that's what my channel and my other social media accounts are all about. I started this YouTube, my TikTok, and my Instagram to help you. I have no dog in this hunt. I just want to be able to help other women feel better about, their health and know that they can do this at any age. You just need to know what the components are to do that and be successful. And that is my goal, to help you in every way that I can. So, again, if you want to see something on my YouTube, definitely comment and tell me what you would like to see next. And once again, thank you so much for watching.